The fluorescent lights of Barcelona El Prat Airport buzzed overhead like dying insects. Claire Montgomery sat on the cold marble floor, her back pressed against a white pillar near Terminal 1's International Departures Gate. Around her, travelers wheeled luggage with purpose, families embraced, businessmen checked watches. Life moved forward while hers had stopped completely. She held her wallet in both hands. Empty. The leather felt lighter than air, mocking in its uselessness. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her auburn hair falling in tangled waves around her face. The same green sundress she had worn that morning now clung to her with the stale smell of panic sweat. Her carry-on bag sat beside her, and next to it, the larger suitcase she had packed 6 days ago with such excitement. 6 days. That was all it took for everything to fall apart. An announcement crackled through the airport speakers in rapid Spanish. Claire did not understand a single word. The sounds washed over her like static, foreign and cold. A family passed by, the mother glancing down with concern before her husband pulled her along. Keep moving, do not get involved. Claire looked at her phone. The screen showed 9:47 p.m. Her flight to Portland was scheduled to depart in 2 hours and 33 minutes. She pulled up her messages one more time, scrolling to the conversation with Jess. The last message sat there, blue and undelivered. Please, I need help. Where are you? Above it, the previous 20 messages showed the same status, undelivered, blocked. She switched to Instagram. Jess's profile no longer appeared in her searches. Facebook, the same. WhatsApp showed the profile picture had disappeared, replaced by a gray silhouette. Claire pressed her palm against her chest, trying to slow her breathing. The panic came in waves, tightening around her ribs like hands squeezing. She counted to 4 on the inhale, held it, counted to 4 on the exhale. Her therapist back home had taught her this technique after the breakup with David. She never imagined she would need it more now than she had then. Her mind kept returning to that morning, waking up in the hotel room at 7 a.m. to silence. The other bed already made, Jess's suitcase gone. At first, Claire thought maybe she had gone down for breakfast early. That optimism lasted until she found the note on the bathroom mirror, written on hotel stationery in Jess's looping handwriting. Emergency at home, had to fly back. You'll figure it out, Jay. No explanation, no apology, just 7 words that shattered everything. Claire had called her immediately, straight to voicemail. Then she checked the hotel safe, where they had been keeping their passports together, because Jess insisted it was safer that way, and she knew the city better, and Claire should not worry about details, just enjoy the trip. Both passports were gone. The shared travel fund they had set up, the account Claire had transferred $800 into for restaurants and activities, showed a balance of 0, withdrawn yesterday at 6:23 p.m. while Claire had been in the shower. She remembered now. Jess had volunteered to grab dinner while Claire washed off the beach sand. She had been gone for almost an hour. Claire thought she was just taking her time choosing a good restaurant. The hotel manager, a thin man with kind eyes and limited English, had broken the news gently. The reservation was only paid through that night. Miss Hartley had checked out that morning, settled her portion of the bill, and left in a taxi to the airport. Claire counted the money she had left. 47 euros in cash. Her credit card was maxed out from buying the plane ticket in the first place. Her debit card had maybe $200 back home, earmarked for rent. She had taken an Uber to the airport in desperation, spending 18 of those precious euros. The woman at the airline customer service counter had listened to her explanation with increasing skepticism. No passport meant no identification. No identification meant no flight. Airline policy. She was very sorry, but there was nothing to be done. Security had been called when Claire started crying too loudly. Now she sat here, invisible among the crowds, her stomach cramped with hunger. She had not eaten since the complimentary hotel breakfast that morning, a croissant and coffee consumed while Jess was already gone, already on a plane, already pretending Claire did not exist. Claire opened her recent calls list. Mom appeared at the top. She hovered her thumb over the name, then locked her phone instead. Her mother could not help. Rachel Montgomery worked double shifts as a nurse just to cover her own bills. Dad's medical debt from the cancer treatment still hung over them 2 years after his death. Claire had been so proud to pay for this trip herself, saving for 11 months from her teacher's salary. She wanted to prove she was independent, capable, recovered from the breakup. What a stupid thing to be proud of. A janitor pushed a cart past her, the wheels squeaking against the polished floor. The smell of industrial cleaner made her stomach turn. She pulled her knees to her chest, making herself smaller. Across the terminal, a little girl in a pink backpack held her father's hand, skipping. The father laughed at something she said, scooping her up onto his shoulders. The girl squealed with delight. Claire turned away. The tears started again, hot and silent. She thought about Jess. Really thought about her for the first time in years. They had met freshman year at Portland State, randomly assigned roommates who became friends, or what Claire thought was friendship. Jess was magnetic, confident, always knowing the right thing to say. Claire had been grateful for her attention. But there were moments, small things Claire explained away. Junior year, when Claire started dating Michael and Jess grew distant, making excuses to skip their usual Thursday dinners. Senior year, when Claire got the Student Teaching Award and Jess said congratulations, but her smile never reached her eyes. Last year, when Claire's relationship with David ended, and suddenly Jess was available again, supportive, suggesting this trip to help Claire heal. The signs were always there. Claire just refused to see them. Another announcement in Spanish echoed through the terminal. Claire checked the departures board. Her flight was listed, on time, gate B7. She could see the gate from here, could watch people boarding when the time came, could imagine herself walking down that jetway toward home. But imagination was all she had left. The security office smelled like burnt coffee and air conditioning. Claire sat in a plastic chair, a bottle of water trembling in her hands. The officer who had escorted her here stood near the door, arms crossed, but expression softer than before. His name tag read M. Ortega. "You are American," he said. It was a statement, not a question. His English carried a thick Spanish accent, but was clear enough. "Nuff? From where?" "Portland, Oregon." Claire's voice came out hoarse. She took a sip of water. "I need to get home." Miguel Ortega nodded slowly. He was maybe 35, with dark hair starting to gray at the temples and the solid build of someone who spent time in the gym. His uniform was crisp despite the late hour. He pulled over another chair and sat down, maintaining a respectful distance. "Tell me what happened," he said, "from the beginning." So Claire did. The words spilled out in fragments, disjointed, doubling back to fill in details she forgot. The trip with Jess, the 6 days of sightseeing, waking up alone, the missing passports, the drained account, the blocked phone numbers. Miguel listened without interrupting, occasionally writing notes on a small pad. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he reached for the office phone on the desk. "I will call the U.S. Embassy," he said. "They have emergency services." Hope flickered in Claire's chest for the first time in hours. Miguel spoke in rapid Spanish to someone on the other end, then switched to English, explaining the situation. Claire caught words like stolen passport and stranded citizen and emergency. The conversation lasted maybe 5 minutes. When Miguel hung up, his expression told her everything before he spoke. "The embassy can issue an emergency passport," he said carefully, "but it takes 3 to 5 business days, and it costs $450. The hope died as quickly as it had sparked. "I don't have that," Claire whispered. "I have 47 euros. They said you can also contact your bank, have money wired, or family can send funds through Western Union." Claire thought of her mother. Rachel would try to help, would drain her own account, would skip paying something essential. The image of her mother's worried face made Claire's throat close up. "I can't ask my mom," she said. "She doesn't have it either." Miguel nodded slowly. He glanced at his watch, then at her. "My shift ends in 20 minutes, he said. "There is a shelter in the city for women in crisis. I can give you the address." A shelter? In a foreign city where she did not speak the language? Claire tried to imagine it and felt the panic rising again. Can I stay here? The words came out small, childlike. In the airport? Miguel's face showed sympathy. It is not comfortable, but yes, people do this sometimes. You are not breaking laws by waiting. Okay, Claire nodded, not knowing what else to say. Thank you for helping. He stood, pulled out his wallet, and set a business card on the desk beside her. If you need police report for insurance or embassy, you call me. I will help with paperwork. He hesitated, then added, I have 3 daughters. I would want someone to help them if they were alone like this. After he left, Claire remained in the office for a few more minutes, finishing the water. Then she gathered her bags and returned to the terminal. She found a row of seats near her gate and claimed a spot in the corner. Around her, the airport began its slow transition to night mode. Shops pulled down metal gates, the crowds thinned, cleaning crews emerged with their carts and mops. Claire pulled out her phone one more time. She stared at her mother's contact information for a long time before finally pressing call. Rachel answered on the second ring. Honey, aren't you supposed to be on a plane? Just hearing her mother's voice broke something inside Claire. The tears came again, and with them the whole story tumbled out. Rachel listened, asking clarifying questions, her voice growing tighter with anger. That girl, Rachel said when Claire finished. I never trusted her. Remember when she borrowed your car and returned it with an empty tank? Claire did remember. She had made excuses for Jess then, too. Mom, the embassy can help, but it costs money and takes time. I just need to figure out how to survive until then. Silence on the other end. Claire could picture her mother in the small kitchen of their apartment, probably still in scrubs from her shift, calculating numbers that would not add up no matter how hard she tried. I can send something, Rachel said finally. Maybe 200. But honey, I have the electric bill and the car payment due, and I'm already behind on one of your dad's medical collections. No, Claire said it firmly. Mom, no, I'll figure something out. I just wanted you to know where I was, in case something happens. They talked for a few more minutes, Rachel trying to problem solve, Claire deflecting. When they hung up, Claire felt worse than before. She had added to her mother's worry without gaining any solutions. The airport grew quieter. Midnight passed. Claire curled up across 3 seats, using her carry-on as a pillow and her jacket as a blanket. The lights never dimmed completely. Announcements still occasionally crackled overhead. Every hour, security guards walked past on patrol. One shone a flashlight in her direction, saw she was just sleeping, and moved on. She did not really sleep. She drifted in and out of consciousness, her mind circling the same thoughts like water going down a drain. How did she miss the signs? Why did Jess hate her enough to do this? What would happen if she could not get home? Morning came slowly, gray light filtering through the massive terminal windows. Claire sat up, her neck stiff, her mouth tasting like copper. Around her, the airport yawned awake. Coffee shops opened. Travelers began arriving for early flights, pulling suitcases and clutching boarding passes. Claire went to the bathroom and washed her face. The mirror showed someone she barely recognized. Dark circles under bloodshot eyes, hair matted on one side, the sundress wrinkled beyond repair. She looked like exactly what she was, a woman with nowhere to go. She returned to her spot by the gate and sat down. Her stomach growled painfully. She had 39 euros left after the water she bought earlier. She needed to make it last. No telling how long she would be here. That was when she noticed him, a man sitting 3 rows away, reading a newspaper. The Financial Times, she noticed. He was maybe in his early 40s, with salt and pepper hair combed neatly back, and a face that suggested he spent time outdoors. He wore dark slacks and a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled to his elbows. Expensive watch, leather briefcase at his feet. He glanced up from his paper, and for a moment their eyes met. Claire looked away quickly, heat rising to her cheeks. The last thing she needed was some man thinking she was staring at him. But from the corner of her eye, she saw him fold his newspaper, saw him stand, saw him walk in her direction. her muscles tensed, ready to grab her bags and move. He stopped a respectful distance away, holding a paper cup in each hand. "Excuse me," he said, British accent, soft and measured. "I noticed you've been here since last night. Thought you might want coffee." Stared at the coffee cup, then at the man holding it. Every instinct screamed not to trust him. Strangers did not just buy you coffee, especially not well-dressed strangers in airports. "What do you want?" The words came out harsher than she intended. The man did not flinch. He set one cup on the empty seat beside her, along with a small paper bag that smelled like pastries. Then he stepped back, increasing the distance between them. "Nothing," he said simply. "I saw you talking to security last night. You look like you could use some breakfast." He turned and walked back to his seat before she could respond. Claire watched him settle back into his chair and pick up his newspaper again. He did not look at her, did not wait for thanks, just resumed reading like nothing had happened. She looked at the coffee. Steam rose from the small opening in the lid. The bag beside it had grease spots showing through the paper. Her stomach cramped with hunger so intense it hurt. Slowly, she reached for the bag. Inside was a croissant, still warm. She tore off a piece and put it in her mouth. The butter and salt combination nearly made her moan. She had not realized how hungry she was until that first bite. The coffee was black, strong, exactly what she needed. She drank half of it in 3 long sips, feeling the caffeine hit her system. Across the way, the man turned a page of his newspaper. He still was not looking at her. Claire finished the croissant, then sat back, wrapping both hands around the warm cup. She studied him more carefully now. He had the kind of face that was hard to age precisely, weathered around the eyes, but in a way that suggested smiling more than stress. Wedding ring on his left hand, she noticed. The watch was a Rolex, the briefcase Burberry. Money, clearly. But he wore it casually, like someone who had been comfortable for a long time. An hour passed, then 2. The man made a phone call in Spanish, too quiet for her to hear details. He typed on a laptop for a while. He got up once to use the restroom, leaving his briefcase behind without hesitation. That told her something about his character. Only someone either very trusting or very confident left expensive items unattended. Around 11, he stood and walked to a coffee stand, returned with another cup and a bottle of water. Again, he set them near her without a word, then retreated. This time, Claire spoke. "Why are you doing this?" He paused, considering her question with the seriousness it deserved. "Because you need help," he said, "and I can provide it." "You don't know me." "No, but I know what it looks like when someone is in trouble." Claire felt tears threatening again. She blinked them back. "I can't pay you back, not right now." "I am not asking you to." He gestured to his seat. "May I sit closer? It is difficult to have a conversation shouting across the terminal." She hesitated, then nodded. He moved to the row in front of her, turning to face her, but keeping a seat between them. Close enough to talk normally, far enough to not feel invasive. "My name is Thomas," he said. "Thomas Beckett." "Claire, Montgomery." "American?" She nodded. "Oregon." "You're British?" "Originally from Surrey. I have lived in Barcelona for 6 years now. I work in logistics, import and export. My office is near the airport." He glanced around the terminal. "I spend more time here than I care to admit." That explained why he was here. Claire felt a small knot of suspicion loosen. "What happened to you?" Thomas asked gently, "if you do not mind telling me." So Claire told the story again. It came easier this time, more organized. Thomas listened the way Miguel had, without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "Your friend," he said finally, "she planned this. I know. And you have no way home? The embassy can help, but it takes days and costs money I do not have." Claire looked down at her hands. "I called my mom, but she can't afford it either. So I'm just waiting, figuring it out." Thomas nodded slowly. Then he said something that made Claire's heart stop. "I would like to pay for your flight home and your emergency passport. Claire's head snapped up. What? I would like to help you get home, he repeated calmly. The passport will cost around $600 with expedited processing. A flight to Portland, another $1,000, perhaps more, depending on availability. I can cover both. No. The word came out automatically. No, I can't let you do that. Why not? Because I don't know you. Because people don't just give away that kind of money. Because there has to be something you want in return. Thomas's expression remained steady, patient. I want nothing in return, except perhaps for you to help someone else someday, when you are able. Claire shook her head. This is crazy. You're a stranger. I could be lying about all of this. I could be scamming you. Are you? No, but you don't know that. I think I am a decent judge of character. Thomas asked gently, if you do not mind telling me. So Claire told the story again. It came easier this time, more organized. Thomas listened the way Miguel had, without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Your friend, he said finally. She planned this. I know. And you have no way home? The embassy can help, but it takes days and costs money I do not have. Claire looked down at her hands. I called my mom, but she can't afford it either. So I'm just waiting, figuring it out. Thomas nodded slowly. Then he said something that made Claire's heart stop. I would like to pay for your flight home and your emergency passport. Claire's head snapped up. What? I would like to help you get home, he repeated calmly. The passport will cost around $600 with expedited processing. A flight to Portland, another $1,000, perhaps more depending on availability. I can cover both. No. The word came out automatically. No, I can't let you do that. Why not? Because I don't know you. Because people don't just give away that kind of money. Because there has to be something you want in return. Thomas's expression remained steady, patient. I want nothing in return, except perhaps for you to help someone else someday when you are able. Claire shook her head. This is crazy. You're a stranger. I could be lying about all of this. I could be scamming you. Are you? No, but you don't know that. I think I am a decent judge of character. Thomas leaned forward slightly. Claire, I understand your suspicion, truly, especially after what your friend did to you. But not everyone has ulterior motives. Some people simply want to help. Why? Her voice cracked on the word. Why would you help me? Thomas looked away, his jaw tightening. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter, carrying a weight that had not been there before. I had a daughter, Emily. She was 24 when she died. Car accident in Thailand 3 years ago. She was traveling, had been gone for 6 months. I was supposed to fly out to meet her the next week. Claire felt her chest constrict. She called me the night before the accident, Thomas continued. Said she had run out of money, was thinking of coming home early. I told her I would wire funds in the morning. But morning came too late. The accident happened that night. He finally looked back at Claire, and his eyes were bright with unshed tears. I think about that often, about what would have happened if I had sent the money immediately, if she had been able to leave that day instead of staying another night, if I had been there. I'm sorry, Claire whispered. So am I. Thomas cleared his throat. I cannot help Emily anymore, but I can help you, and perhaps that counts for something. They sat in silence. Around them, the airport continued its endless rhythm. Departures and arrivals, hellos and goodbyes, journeys beginning and ending. I'll pay you back, Claire said finally. Every dollar. It might take a while, but I will. Thomas smiled, the first real smile she had seen from him. If you insist, though I hope you will also pay it forward when you can. Help the next person who needs it. I will. She meant it. Good. Thomas stood, extending his hand. Then let us get you home, Claire Montgomery. She took his hand. His grip was warm, steady, solid, real. For the first time since waking up in that empty hotel room, Claire felt something other than despair. She felt hope.